everybody, welcome back to the Fumble Live. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you do that now. Tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and share it with your friends. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Jackie Ray. You can follow me everywhere at JRayTheFanatic.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Britt Johnson. You guys can follow me on all social media at I am Britt Johnson.
Okay, you guys, so we have two need-to-know news stories that I want to get into right away. So the Dallas Mavericks are reportedly trying to pair up Luka with Bradley Beal. So Mike Fisher of Sports Illustrated wrote, quote, "Bradley Beal is a name often discussed by Dallas Mavericks watchers as a perfect target for owner Mark Cuban's nuclear winter plan of talent acquisition. In Dallas, the pursuit is all about a third star, and Beal would actually qualify as something even more than that on a team featuring Luka and Porzingis." So Beal last season averaged 30.5 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 6.1 assists per game. So he very well would fit in as a third star there. But Britt, do you think Bradley would go on a team to be a third star? Right now he plays a bigger role on the Wizards as a leading man, or maybe a second star if you add John Wall. So is this move going to be enticing for him?
I think it could be, because I don't think that Dallas has a superstar like that. Like, I think everybody's still, Luka's only a few years in. Kristaps Porzingis is pretty new to the team. He's only been there 2-3 years as well. So they don't have like a Kobe Bryant or whatever the case is that some teams have, where it's like, oh, or a Stephen Clay, where they're literally building the team around a certain person that's been there for a long time, that the fans are going to go crazy if you lose. They don't have that there. Yes, Luka is a rising star, and he could very well be that person for the Dallas Mavericks, but I don't know anybody on the Dallas Mavericks that literally is all about like Luka and wouldn't mind getting another opportunity to, have somebody else be the face of the franchise. So I don't think Luka, or especially not Kristaps Porzingis, are people that lead the fan base so much so that you automatically are going to put Bradley Beal as the third star on the team. I think if he goes in there and he shows that he is a star and he is a winner, then he can very well take first place if he needs to, or second place. So I think it's enticing for him, just because there is not a star in Dallas that literally has the fans' hearts like that.
Okay, interesting. So Jackie, that kind of brings me into my question for you, and you were shaking your head yes in agreement with them. I kind of feel like I know how you're going to answer this, but do you think players have a hard time coming to terms with not being the star on their team when they join teams that already have two people that are leading the pack, kind of like KD, who was mad when he didn't get the same love and adoration from fans up north? So do you think that this is something Bradley Beal could struggle with, having to share the limelight with Luka and Kristaps?
Well, I think that depends on your level of ego. So when you're talking about KD, KD not being the star anywhere, or Kyrie not being the star anywhere, that's going to be a struggle for those two specific individuals. It might even be if something were to happen crazy and Clay not be, or Steph not be the star, that might be a struggle for him, because he's been that his whole career basically. But I don't know, because he doesn't seem like he has the personality that would struggle with that. He seems like he'd be the guy that'd be cool for whatever. And I think Bradley Beal, he doesn't have, that kind of ego either. I agree and disagree with Britt. I think that Luka is the guy there. I've been calling him, baby goat for a minute. So I think he is that guy there. But at the same time, I think that you would have a really dope tandem pair between Luka and Bradley. And I don't think it's a matter of, oh, I'm not the star anymore. I think it's the, we doing this together, we riding together type of thing. So I think that it would fit just fine. I don't see Porzingis being like that guy that would care. He there to play. He don't care if you talking about him or not. He's there to play. If you mention him, cool. If you don't, cool. Did we win is kind of his mindset. And that's definitely the guy that you need, that kind of, if you could have the perfect trio, that's the perfect trio, So I think for that reason, it would be enticing. And I don't think there would be an ego clash between those three at all.
Okay. So, and what do you guys think? What do you feel is this happening. Jackie, I'd like to hear from you first, and then Britt, and then we'll move to the next story.
I'm going to need you to ask that again because you broke up. And all I heard was, Jackie, I need you to answer that. What?
All I asked was, what do you feel is the likelihood of that actually happening?
I mean, like I said, I think it would be a really dope trio. So I think if all parties involved can get something beneficial out of it, I think that they could. I think that on the flip side, it would be beneficial for Washington to try to keep Bradley. But, again, I say this all the time, and it's probably going to be what I fall back to for a while. Money talks. And if all parties involved can figure out a way for it to be mutually beneficial, I think it would work. But, we'll see. A lot is going to happen that I probably think is going to happen, and a lot is going to happen that I thought no way in hell it would happen. So we'll just have to kind of see on that one.
And then, Britt, do you think with John Wall coming back, Bradley Beal is going to be happier to stay in with the Wizards, or what are your thoughts on that?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I think being in the East, like obviously, like with John Wall back and Bradley Beal in the mix as well. If Washington wants to get like another decent piece to that group, they could actually be very effective in the Eastern Conference. Versus, okay, say Bradley Beal goes to Dallas. Honestly, they can afford to have him in Dallas. Luka's still on his rookie contract. This is the perfect opportunity. Bradley Beal has a couple years. Luka has a couple years. So then at that time, then you would renegotiate and figure out what's going to happen next. But then are you bringing somebody in for the 2 years and then you can't afford to pay him after because you're going to pay Luka this like crazy salary? So will Dallas be able to be that effective in the Western Conference with adding Bradley Beal? We all know the Western Conference is way more competitive than the Eastern Conference and stuff like that. So I think for Bradley Beal, it does make more sense to just stay in Washington because I think you would have a better chance of being, whatever going on a run in the playoffs than you would going to the Dallas Mavericks. And even though now you are like this perfect trio, you're in the Western Conference. And honestly, it's it might not be enough, especially considering you would probably years to kind of figure that out. And at that time, once those few years are up, Luke is going to be needing a new contract. You yourself are going to be needing a new contract. Who knows if Porzingis is even going to be on the team at that time again. And then it's like this whole other buildup. So if it was like a beginning, if this would have happened 2 years ago, they would probably be one of the better teams in the Western Conference right now. But because of when it's happening and because of the contract extensions and then what you're going to need to be paying all of these guys in a couple of years, because Bradley Beal is still really young too and still has a lot of basketball to be played, it just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, well, let's get into the second Need to Know News update. This is all about Ryan Russillo. He is not a fan of the power LeBron James has in the NBA right now. He joined the Bill Simmons podcast and he talked about how things have changed within the league with players often opting not to play regular season games. He talked about how he feels that's impacting the league. And he said specifically he's tired of LeBron's voice being the loudest in the room, especially, bless you, Jackie, especially in regards to the next season starting in December. He said, quote, "Most recent NBA culture is a culture of not wanting to play games, regular season de-emphasized, load management, and league having to step in. I would like to hear from more players because the league has become LeBron's voice. There are hundreds of players who haven't played in 7 months." So Jackie, how do you feel about Ryan's comments on LeBron? Do you think that LeBron's influence does tend to silence other players?
First of all, I'm very selective of who I listen to on the radio, so I had to look up to see who this guy was, because I think this is another case of somebody wanting to throw their name into the mix by attaching their name to LeBron James for no apparent reason. But I definitely do not think that LeBron James silences any players in the league. Case in point, the Milwaukee Bucks, they didn't call LeBron and say, hey, do you think we should not play? They just simply made a decision amongst themselves and they did not play. So this is not something that, I'm sure that he's the face of the league. LeBron definitely is the face of the league. I think he wields his power in his benefit as he should, but he also wields it in a way that's beneficial to those around him. And I don't think for a second that if players have something to say, that they're not going to say it. We also know that players got on a call with Kyrie to talk about what they wanted to do as far as should they stay out and protest or should they go in the bubble. That had nothing to do with LeBron. So if people are intimidated by in some way, which I don't think that they are, I think that these players know that they have outlets and they can do what they want to do. Yes, LeBron James is the face of the league, but he's not the first player in the history of the game to load management. LeBron didn't start the load management thing, and there's no way I'm going to say that players who've been out for almost a year, of course they want to play. You know what I mean? There was only something like, 8 teams that didn't go into the bubble? And so those guys, of course, are going to be vocal. So it's not going to be just LeBron that's saying, hey, let's take a break. It's going to be those other teams that were also in the bubble who haven't had an opportunity to get the rest, the people who have been sitting around chilling and getting massages and doing whatever they need to do to be completely healthy for the last year. So I think this is a guy that's just typical, has a thing about LeBron and feels like LeBron is going to, like he pays Adam Silver's salary or something, and he, just has wield his power any way he sees fit, and that's just not factual. So I thought it was cute that he tried to throw his name in the limelight, but it's not a factual statement.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a good point because, yes, LeBron is the face of the league. He is probably the NBA star that people hear the most, but that doesn't mean other players are not allowing their voices to be heard or not sharing their opinion on different platforms or on these calls or conferences. So I'm with you on that one. Britt, I want to go to you. Do you feel that younger, less prominent players simply defer to LeBron because he is such a star veteran player and they count on him to speak for everybody?
No, not normally, but I think this season it's kind of been just LeBron because Steph has been out. Kevin Durant has been out. All of these other guys that normally are, other stars that maybe these young guys kind of mimic their game after, other than LeBron James, we haven't seen them and they haven't been this thing in the league. So yes, everybody's kind of gone towards LeBron James, but I also know that LeBron James isn't the president of the NBPA, he's not he doesn't even rep the Lakers. Danny Green's the rep for the Lakers. So I think that we probably look and think that everybody just only cares about what LeBron says or only listening to LeBron. But when they're in these meetings and stuff like that, LeBron's not the number one person talking, even most of the time. We know LeBron James and we all follow LeBron James, so we all just think whatever. But it is a collective room, and there are a lot of people that have their voices in the room. I think Chris Paul is the president for a reason. He is a very vocal guy. He is a guy that, we might not say is the best player ever or whatever the case is, but he is a guy that a lot of players go to and look up to. And I even think LeBron James and him have had different conversations with each other, just about leadership roles and what can we do collectively. It's not just LeBron's coming up with these ideas himself, just all alone and not talking to other guys in the league or whatever the case is. I just think for this moment, the other stars that we do look at weren't playing this season. The other stars that we see as other faces of the league, mostly probably a Steph Curry, he wasn't around this season. So everybody just turned and looked well, what's LeBron going to do? What's LeBron going to say? But I don't think the players feel like that at all. I think that they know they have a voice in rooms and they have other people. And I think LeBron, for that reason, does not decide to have those positions of oh, I'm going to be the rep for this team and I'm going to be the rep for, all of us as a whole. I think he likes it spread around and he's I'm going to do what I'm going to do and have whatever. But I want you guys to know that we can all be in here and talk together. So I don't think the younger players or anybody necessarily feels like that. Obviously, when it's coming to the game, a lot of them are probably, yes, watching what LeBron James does on the court and copying that. But otherwise, I think that there are a lot of really powerful voices that are in the NBA that people listen to. I know people listen to Tobias Harris all the time. He's always talking about stuff. Even young guys like Donovan Mitchell, always talking about stuff. And I think all of these voices are being heard. And I think we as the media and maybe as fans can always say that it's just LeBron James, but he's just has the most followers out of all of them and just has his own company where he can use his platform to talk and, do different things or whatever for his production company and stuff like that. But I think in the NBA, in their rooms, in their closed door stuff, everybody feels heard.
And I don't think that's who LeBron James is as a person. Like, if you just watch his style of play, he's a facilitator. He wants to get everybody involved in the game. That's not going to be any different off the court. I think that this season it might look like LeBron James is the main voice, because he probably was. Because as far as, social change, I'm not taking away from anything that anyone else has done off the court. But as far as what he has done and putting his money where his mouth is, he is the biggest voice as far as social change and trying to make this world a better place. And this is the time that we live in right now. So he is going to seem like the most vocal. But as far as what goes on with the NBA, he has friends on probably every team in the league, and he talks to them and he wants to get their input about everything. So again, I just feel like this guy is like, okay, nobody's listening to my podcast, so let me just attach my name to LeBron and see what happens.
Yeah. Right. And here we are.
Yeah.
Talking about
it. Exactly. You're probably right, you guys. And to your point, what both of you guys just said, LeBron isn't even on the board, but we do have Kyrie, who is the vice president, and he organized that call we saw when the league was about to restart that everybody was a part of. So I think you guys brought up some good points that even though, we might pay more attention to LeBron than we do other players, that doesn't mean that these athletes are not having their opinions be heard, or there's no weight to their opinions at all. So I think you guys brought up two good points. And then finally, this is just a continuation of the conversation that we were having yesterday on our show. I just want to ask you guys, do you think the league should be listening to stars who were in the finals or in the tail end of the bubble because this shortened off season will be impacting them the most? Or do you think that it should be weighted evenly across all players, including the 8 teams that never even went into the bubble? Jackie,
it's not
I guess
evenly.
I'll start with you.
It's not evenly. If I've been sitting around and chilling for almost a year, that's not fair. That's not even. If you ask me if I want to play, of course I want to play. I've been sitting around doing nothing this whole time. There's not even a question. I want to play. That's not a fair question. And you're asking the people who just finished playing, have been home for about 15 minutes to figure out how their laundry system works again. They've literally just gotten reacclimated to being at home. And now you're saying, oh, you know what? So what? We want you to play again. That's not even. That's not a fair thing. I think you ask the players whose body has been subjected to being out on the every other day schedule, which is not normal. They've put their bodies through things that they're not used to. What they say should hold the most weight, not the players who've been sitting around chilling, catching up on SpongeBob and Game of Thrones. No, that's not fair.
Two interesting show choices there, Jackie.
That's what I watch.
What do you think? Do you think that the league should be listening more to the players who just got out of the bubble?
I think it's like hard both ways, honestly, because I really do see both sides of it. They always say that, a body at rest stays at rest, a body in motion stays in motion. So for the guys that haven't played, it is actually can be negative on them that they haven't played in so long. Like, that does hurt their body. So of course they want to play because it's hurting their body to not play. Like, to be out of basketball for so long and not be in a competitive situation, that is negative towards them. We talk about it all the time with the NFL. If there's guys that don't play for a couple years, it is really hard for them to get back in the league, even though, yes, they are more rested than guys that just played last season or whatever the case is. But it's hard to get their body back to playing level. It is really hard to do. So I understand both sides of it. I understand it isn't fair for the people who literally just had that 73 days, and it's not fair for those people who had 7 to 8 months, So I think it's really hard for them to even come to any kind of, conclusion on this. Obviously, as far as the players are concerned, I don't think money's going to affect them at all because, again, of that $500 million, they only get half of it, and then they have to divide it by all the players in the league. So it's not that much in their personal pockets to make a difference. So it's not going to be money weighted, but I think you ask everybody, because there's people that are in the middle too. There's people that did not necessarily have the 7-8 months off. They were in the bubble and they might have had a round or two in the playoffs. Their bodies are not full. Anybody who was in the bubble doesn't get that full break they're normally used to either. So I think it's going to be just a combination of a bunch of different things that we're going to get. And then obviously some of the younger guys have said that were in the bubble and did go to the playoffs and all this, that they're fine to play, but they're also 22 years old, So I think even in that situation, you're going to get mixed reviews and mixed thoughts or whatever. And it really is like a very difficult thing that the NBA is going to have to decide. And it's going to suck for people both ways.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is just definitely a complicated issue. It does seem like, based on recent reports, that December 22nd date is going to be when the season starts back up again. So I guess the athletes who were hoping for a longer break are just going to have to find a way to acclimate or deal with that shortened off season. But on that note, you guys, let's... Go ahead.
The ESPN, if you guys don't know, today just announced they're firing 300 people and not filling 200 jobs. That's 500 jobs from ESPN alone. So the NBA not starting and whatever, it trickles down to so many different factors. So I could totally understand that December date, because literally that's 500 jobs out of ESPN that people aren't getting anymore. So it is like not just the NBA that it affects, it's affecting different broadcasting companies and stuff like that too. So I get why they're starting early.
Yeah.
The effects of this are far reaching. That's something I wasn't really even thinking about before. I was so laser focused on basketball and these athletes and how are they going to handle it. But you're right. It impacts so far beyond that. On that note, you guys, let's go right on into the post up with Jackie.
Yes. All right. It's time for Post Up. Pandemic, still waiting for the results of this election edition. Okay, so we just talked about the guy that attached his name to LeBron James because he thinks LeBron James has a lot of power and in his voice. I don't like people who just kind of insert themselves into the narrative like that. But I will agree that LeBron definitely knows the power that he does have, and I am really excited that he continuously uses that power for good. And I think it's sad that he has to do that again in this capacity because unfortunately one of his closest friends, his sister, was murdered. So I think you guys kind of know, if you follow LeBron for any amount of time, that once he calls you a friend, it's more like family. You become family. I have two people in my life that are more family than they are just friends, and so I definitely understand where he was coming from. But he has a close friend named Brandon Weems that they actually met in Pee Wee football. So that's like around 7, 8 or so. They met in Pee Wee football in Akron, Ohio. And then if they played basketball together in high school. So they've been friends for almost like 30 years, probably a little over 30 years now. But sadly, on Monday, Brandon Weems' sister Erica was found by family members. She had been shot in the head. They're not ruling it a suicide. They are investigating it as a homicide. She was just 37 years old. So according to News 5 in Cleveland, they have absolutely no leads. No arrests have been made. So it's a really sad situation. So LeBron, of course, this being his best friend, his brother, one of his best friends and someone like a brother, he went to Twitter and he used his voice to try to get them to come out. And he said, Akron, Ohio, my brother's sister was murdered this past weekend in her home. My brother family needs answers. Why and by whom? My city, I need y'all to go to work and find out who did this awful, shameful, disgusting thing to such a caring, loving angel. # justice for Erica Weems. So really sad situation there. Obviously, that's the last thing you want to hear. The Cavs also released a statement via their GM, Kobe Outman, and he said the entire Cavaliers organization were terribly saddened to learn about the recent tragic death of Brandon Weems' sister, Erica. Our hearts are heavy and filled with pain over this sad, senseless act. We express our deepest condolences to Brandon, the entire Weems family, their loved ones, and the Akron community. We will be with Brandon throughout this extremely difficult time and will offer our assistance and resources to help find justice for Erica. So the Cavs are also, the city of Akron, through their Summit County Crime Stoppers, they are offering a $5,000 reward for anyone who can help find who did this to Erica. I'm sure if they don't succeed in finding who did that, I'm sure that LeBron James will probably up that amount. But it's just a really sad time. But I am, again, very proud of LeBron for using his voice to try to help solve this case. I don't have any questions on that one because that one's just a super sad situation. But again, our thoughts and prayers are with the Weems family as well. But now we're going to move on to one of our topics that I feel like we have a lot of fun with on this show, and that is the tattoos, because we have another one. I usually go in on tattoos, especially when they're bad, but I just don't understand this one. So I'm not gonna really go in on this one, and especially since he's one of the best receivers in the league. But he got this new tattoo. You can barely see it because I had to brighten it all the way up on my computer. I think that this is DeAndre Hopkins' name. This is a tattoo, the new tattoo that DeAndre Hopkins got. I think it's his name. So when you go to the comments on this was posted on Twitter. A lot of people were saying, is that supposed to look like he was whipped? Which I hope not. So I'm not entirely sure what it is. We know that Cam Newton has that crazy weird font that he does. I don't know if this has some sort of meaning. But ladies, what do you think of this tattoo? I'm gonna start with you, Britt. Look at Britt's face. Oh. Britt's face is great. She's trying to figure.
I did this story this morning. Okay. It's DeAndre Ayton. So it says dominating. It's not DeAndre Hopkins, but DeAndre Ayton dominating.
Okay. That's what it says?
Yes.
Can we go back
it's hard
and
to
see
read.
Again?
Looks like Wolverine writing.
Look, my face. I'm sorry. I'm trying to see. It said dominating.
I just had to jump in. Dominating.
Okay, because I thought it was DeAndre. Okay, so it says dominating.
Yes.
I don't see it. Like lashes to me. Like I don't know. I don't like
I thought it was whips. Yeah, I thought it was like he was trying to look like. Okay, thanks, Leo. See, that's what I had to do on my computer too, to try to figure out what the hell it said. It does look like lashes to me.
Yeah,
it looks painful.
It's making me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't. So DeAndre Ayton. My apologies on that. I don't like it either way though because it looks mad painful.
Yeah, I wonder if he got like Omegas, like the Q Dogs, the fraternity or whatever. They like burn the sign on them, and that's what it looks like. It's a tattoo burn, like it because it looks raised.
That's what I thought too. So it does look raised.
The burn, yeah. I feel like he got like a burn.
Can you put ink in the burned? Because that one definitely has ink. It's raised, but it definitely has ink. So can you ink a burn mark?
I feel like they get creative with it now. Honestly, like it must. All
right.
I feel like let us know. Is there some kind of tattoo procedure you can do where it's like kind of like the burn but with ink? I don't know.
Right. I didn't know you could ink burn. I mean, I imagine you can. I don't know. All right. So we're going to move on because we're going to talk about Dennis Rodman. You guys saw him in The Last Dance. Apparently, I didn't even know that there's also a documentary about his partying ways back in the day. I have not seen it. A friend of mine texted me that this morning, so I'm going to try to check that out. But, sometimes when basketball is over, you got to kind of make up topics to talk about. So Clutch Points posted this tweet, and they're asking, who right now could hang with Dennis Rodman in their partying ways. Tony Kukoc said he couldn't. He said that he partied with him one time and he realized it took 7 to 10 days to recover from that. So he was not going to do it. So that's the question that Clutch Points posted. And then this first response to that said absolutely no one could survive a night with Rodman would be my guess. That is also my guess as well, because I wouldn't even consider it. I wouldn't consider partying with him right now, and he's well removed from that. And then this person said that Daniel House too soon. I think that's a good guess because he was the one that was sneaking women into the hotel. I think that's a good guess. But Devin, I want to go to you on this one. Who is your guess? Is there anyone in the league right now who could party? That's a big ask, but could they keep up with partying with Dennis Rodman?
Oh gosh, that is a good question. I wish I thought of somebody. I feel like that Daniel House one that you said is probably a good option, but I don't know. I don't think there is anybody that's partying quite as hard as Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, I don't have anyone in the NBA. Britt, do you?
Well, I'm going to switch it up to some NFL, and I'm going to go
I
Gronk.
was too. That's what I was going to say. High five, high five. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, that's the only person I know.
With Dennis Rodman.
Wait,
And
yes.
I actually want to who did this happen. Gronk has his little cruise that he does every year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's get Dennis Rodman on this thing, and let's get some cameras rolling. Fumble crew,
That's
what
gonna
we doing?
we're gonna be in a safe room because between Grunk motorboating people and Dennis Rodman, I don't think we'd be safe. We're gonna be in a safe room somewhere chilling, but we'll video the whole thing and tell y'all about it. Right.
We'll be sending stuff to the camera guy, being like, "Hey, follow him, stay in front of him.
Yeah.
He's going around the corner.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't miss what he's doing."
We're gonna be in a steel case safe room. That's where we're gonna be. All right, you guys. I know we were talking a lot about Bronny and his weed smoking and what became of him. Word on the street is that Bronny only was punished. He was put on punishment. I know we all thought that the beatings were going to ensue as soon as LeBron James got home. If he did get a beating, his fingers were not damaged in said beating because once again, he is out here shooting his shot with a woman who can't use none of the hair products that are in the James family, but he is shooting his shot here. You can see that he's there. He liked this photo and then put, the queen emoji below. So LeBron James Jr. is alive and well. He wasn't beaten to within the inch of his life. He's doing fine for all of y'all who were concerned. So moving on. We talked about this. I actually almost felt a slight tear for Ryan Fitzpatrick once he got benched because he was out there doing the damn thing and he didn't see it coming this quickly. So I've been wondering how he's feeling, now that he has to actually still go to work and help train the guy that they replaced him with. And I don't know if he's doing well because I want you to see this photo or this video and you tell me is he coping okay with what's going on right now? Wait for it. That is Ryan Fitzpatrick practicing. It's booty shorts. Why is he in booty shorts? I don't know if he's handling this well. He left the house.
In the booty shorts.
Girl, no, we get more movement in the booty shorts. Those should be more restricting to a man, I would assume. How do we?
Right, and not bouncing around everywhere.
Bouncing around.
I'm gonna move on because
I always get so confused by guys when you're running and stuff. No, that seems like it would hurt. I know being a girl, you're jumping around like that.
Yeah.
Hurts, so
right, it does.
Yeah,
it does. All right. Okay, that's
gotta have that support.
That took a turn that I did not anticipate. So now we're just gonna move on. One of the things I say all the time is that I'm not entirely sure if college talent will translate in the pros. Not because I don't think these guys are talented, but because sometimes I think you just get a little intimidated. You have to kind of learn this new system, things of that nature. But I never really considered that maybe the same holds true when you go from high school to college. I don't know if it's as hard as far as getting out there and your talent being a thing, but I will say this freshman is not ready for this college workout. Just make sure you take a look at his face. He is the guy in the back watching his new college basketball team work out. And I don't think he's here for it, you guys. He looks so...
I saw it yesterday and I made sure I sent it to the producer because I was like, this poor kid, and he's just obviously way scrawnier than everybody else. He hasn't developed into his body yet. And he's just like, what did I sign up for? Maybe I should try golf.
When I got this video, I know my mind is weird, but when I got this video, I wanted to kind of take the sound out and put the song from Little Shop of Horrors, that "Son Be a Dentist," because I felt like maybe he's just like reconsidering his whole life, and maybe he should be a dentist now.
Great. It's so good. He's just in the background. I just love that this was caught on camera.
Right, like he's like, bruh, this. Let me pay attention in class, so I don't have to do this anymore.
He's like, like that was the height. I ain't got that kind of strength.
Right?
Just tall.
Okay. Tom, that's it. That is it. Now this next video, I know you guys, that one was great. This next video is my favorite video so far. Y'all know I told y'all before that if I could, I'd probably just find little kid videos all the time. I have never heard of anyone getting 18 tackles in a single game. It has never been a thing, but it has happened. And the kid that made that happen is celebrating in his next game because he feels like he's going to make it happen again. It's the cutest thing you've ever seen. So watch his pregame celebration of those 18 tackles.
Yes.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah,
The booty shake. It's the booty shake for me.
So cute.
He don't care that nobody's joining him. He's like, nope.
Look at number 3.
Did you get 18 tackles?
Get your kid.
Right.
Oh my God, I love that.
That was his jam, look.
Oh,
It's
the cutest
like
thing.
Don't want to be there. He's like,
right.
He's like, get this away from me. You know,
I feel like that last little point was. Go ahead, Britt.
So in my high school was actually really good in cheer and dance, and our football team was like super average. It was very much like bring it on. We actually had 3 guys that were on the football team that were also on our cheer team. So like I feel like this guy is probably gonna he has it up. So it's like, listen, if we end up sucking in football, I'm gonna just go on the sidelines with the cheerleaders. I'm gonna throw some baskets up and just get it going. Win how I can. You know, he is prepared for both. To win a national championship in cheer if you don't win a state championship in football. I mean, I like this kid.
I love it.
That's what the other guy
I know.
do. So back to the last video.
Can you just start dancing? Like,
yeah.
Like I'm not putting them chains on. I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do this. I liked how he was pointing at the kids though. I felt like when he noticed they were looking at him and not joining in, he was like, "Did you get 18 tackles last game? No, you didn't.
Right?
No, you didn't." I loved it. All right, so. Right. So the people, y'all in the chat don't seem to like this little guy's dance. I don't understand. I love his dancing. Somebody said he's a new Spud Webb. Okay, that's cool.
How do you not like that dancing?
I don't know. Especially,
we got a bunch of haters in the chat right now. You guys need to settle down. Jeez, it's a kid.
How do you not like the kid dancing? You know, the thing is, when people don't like kids dancing, like you're supposed to dance like nobody's watching. It brings out joy. It's like one of my favorite lines from Legally Blind. You know, it raises your endorphins. Endorphins make you happy, and happy people don't kill people. So. There you go.
Yes.
Just be nicer.
Great point.
Okay. Oh my goodness. All right, so we're gonna move on because this last one is what we not gonna do. I know it's what some of you guys came here for, and I think it's time that we really address the elephant in the room. Because I have seen it all over social media. Everybody is praising once again Tom Brady for what he's doing with Antonio Brown. This photo has been circulating. I'm not mad at the photo. Let me just say this. I'm not mad at the photo. It's a cute photo of 2 teammates like, hey, how's it going? They happy or whatever. But if you don't know, I don't know how you wouldn't. If you don't know, Tom Brady and Antonio Brown are now roommates. Tom Brady has opened his home to Antonio Brown, and Antonio Brown has moved into the Tom Brady's house. He has moved into Tom Brady's house. Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now lead the division 6-2. That's my division where my Saints are in. My Saints are 5-2. Now, if you remember, I said that we should pick up Antonio Brown because I didn't know what was going on with Michael Thomas, and here we are. He hasn't played since game 1. Emmanuel Sanders missed 2 games because he tested positive. Our rookie was out, but now we've got everybody coming back. They came back to practice today. But I don't know if they're going to play on Sunday. So now we're looking at this situation where we're going up against Tom Brady and Antonio Brown. I have been a big advocate of getting Antonio Brown back in the league. I'm not mad that Antonio Brown is back in the league, but let's not get this twisted. He's only back specifically because of Tom Brady, because Bruce, who is the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he was in Pittsburgh when all that lashing out from Antonio Brown happened, when he would lash out against everybody and the Lord. And he said that there was no way that he would bring AB onto Tampa Bay Buccaneers because he said he didn't fit in that locker room. So we all know that this is Tom Brady's doing. He seemed fine in New England. He didn't seem fine in Oakland, Oakland, I think they still were at the time, because he lashed out at everybody there. But he's never had a problem with Tom Brady. He's never had a problem with Bill Belichick, which I think we all knew that because they just weren't having that. He was released from that situation because of his off the field issues. We also know, if you follow Antonio Brown on Instagram, you've seen Tom Brady either like or comment when Antonio Brown is working out. It's my understanding that he's also reached out to him via phone and just been really supportive of everything he's doing as on the field. And then Antonio Brown has complimented Tom Brady as well. He, in an interview, he said, quote, "Tom is my boy. He's been a great guy in my corner and one of my close friends. I've learned a lot from him, how he trains, how he takes care of himself professionally, his discipline, his work ethic, his approach. He's always getting better day in and day out, and I've just learned a lot from him, how he trains, how he takes care of himself professionally, his discipline, his work ethic, his approach." I don't disagree with any of that. I don't disagree with any of that at all. Tom Brady is 4th in passing yards right now with 2,189 yards. He's 4th in touchdown passes with 20. But none of his receivers, his tight ends, none of them are even in the top 25 for receptions. That's why this is happening, you guys. Please don't give Tom Brady no accolades for being nice and saying, oh, he's really reaching out and being a good guy and helping his brother when he's down. No, he ain't. You ain't never heard of Tom Brady reaching out and helping nobody else in the league. Not one person. He's not doing that. He is doing that specifically because he knows Antonio Brown can help him get to that next level. He can help him win a ring, and against all the odds, all the stuff we talked about, the possibility of him winning in Tampa Bay, that is specifically why he is doing this. This isn't a heart of gold. Have you ever heard of Tom Brady bringing in any other athlete who was having problems in their life? No, he's brought Antonio Brown into his house so he can keep an eye on him and make sure he stays the course and does not mess anything up so he can open up his backfield. This is a completely selfish move on the part of Tom Brady. I'm not mad at it because I get it. If this is what you need to happen to make sure you win, that's fine. I'm just saying, take the halo off this man, because that's not what it is. It's not. This is a self-serving act. That's it. That's all. So what we're not going to do is give Tom Brady some sort of halo that he doesn't deserve. This is selfish as hell. This is all a self-fulfilling prophecy. Well played, but he ain't no saint. And that's all I got to say about that. So let me get my girl Devin up here with me really quick. Devin, do you have any opinion? Do you think that this was a good move? Like a friendly, like, oh, hey, my brother is down? Or do you think I'm right and you think he just did it to make sure he can get one step closer to that ring?
I mean, I think you're definitely right. I thought this was bizarre from the get-go. I thought it was weird that they were living together. Sure, it's nice, but I do think it's motivated by a selfish desire as opposed to something that he's just doing out of the goodness of his own heart. So yes, I am with you 100%.
Gary in the chat says that Antonio Brown is going to sleep with Tom Brady's wife. I don't know if that would be the perfect end to this, though. That would be the perfect end to this. Yeah. I couldn't happen to a nicer guy, but that's all I got for what we not gonna do. And now it is time for Britt's takes.
Britt's takes.
Yes.
All right, we are going to end it with some football action too, but this time we might have a guy that actually might possibly be trying to join Tom Brady as well. My man, J.J. Watt. We all know J.J. Watt. We all love J.J. Watt. He is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Yes, that J.J. Watt. Well, he literally has been feeling a type of way, as he should. His Houston Texans have been terrible. He's spent his entire career with the Texans. His second year with the team, they went 12-4. He was like, I got drafted to the right team. This is going to be great. Then a few seasons later, his team goes 2-14. We all know their head coach just got fired a couple weeks ago after, having a terrible record this season, and most importantly, getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins and shipping him off to Arizona. And Arizona has been profiting off of that and leaving Deshaun Watson with nobody but Deshaun Watson on the offensive side and J.J. Watt on the defensive side. And, well, J.J. Watt has had enough, he has 1 year left on his contract extension, and it is worth $17.5 million. We all know that is not guaranteed money. This is the NFL. There is no guarantees. Even if your contract says $17.5 million guaranteed, if they happen to cut you, you don't get that money. That's how the NFL works. So no, there is not a guarantee that J.J. Watt is going to get that $17.5 million. And he is making a case that he, at this point, kind of doesn't care. Leo, let's just roll this video and let J.J. Watt tell y'all how he's feeling right now being with the Houston Texans.
I am here. Obviously, I'm trying to do whatever I can to help us win games. I don't think it's any secret that I don't have 10 years left in this league. I personally believe that I do have a few more great ones left in me. But you also can't, I'm not looking to rebuild. I'm looking to go after a championship, and that's what I want to do.
I mean, he's right. He is 31 years old. He has, he's built like a tank. So, but he has had injuries throughout his career. He's still kind of every injury that he's had or any moment that he's had where he has been down for a little bit, he's actually come back better than ever. He's still been productive in the league. He hasn't let his injuries really hinder him. He really can, as soon as the wheel falls off the tank or whatever, put a new one on and he's good to go. And that's been J.J. Watt this whole entire time. But he is 31, and technically that is very old in the NFL. It just is. We all know, regardless of if J.J. Watt ever wins a Super Bowl during his career or whatnot, he is a first-time ballot Hall of Famer. We all know that. There is no question that J.J. Watt is going to get that gold jacket the first opportunity they have to give it to him. But this moment actually kind of reminded me of a guy that played, I believe, 17 seasons in the league, one of the best tight ends in the game for a very long time, Tony Gonzalez. Now, Tony Gonzalez actually played the majority chunk of his career with the Kansas City Chiefs, who they weren't the Kansas City Chiefs that we see today, just letting y'all know that. And then he spent the other half of his career with the Atlanta Falcons, and he's a 14-time Pro Bowler. Nobody has questions on his skill. It was him and Matt Ryan. Before him and Matt Ryan, he was playing with Michael Vick for a couple seconds before Michael Vick, went to jail and stuff like that. So when Tony Gonzalez joined the Falcons, he definitely thought he was on the road to winning a championship. He played 17 years, and guess what, you guys? 1 year before he hung up his jersey and cleats, he won his very first playoff game. That is how terrible of moments and teams that Tony Gonzalez has been with. 17 years in the league and literally won one playoff game in 2013, which was technically the same year he retired in, but obviously it was the January of 2013, and then he played that following season. And after that season was over, when the Falcons didn't make it to the playoffs again at the end of that 2013 season, he retired. So he won one playoff game. I remember it. It was against the Seahawks. He won one playoff game his entire 17-year career. And Yes, we know Tony Gonzalez is great, but I literally remember the Falcons talking about everybody on the team talking about we gotta win this for Tony Gonzalez. We gotta do this for Tony Gonzalez. Like everybody. I can almost bet you money, even people like Jackie and Chris, who are Saints fans, were probably rooting for the Falcons to win at least one playoff game so Tony Gonzalez could have something in his pocket, because everybody after 17 seasons, people were feeling really bad for this guy. And I don't want that to be JJ Watt's story. I think a lot of people like JJ Watt. We all remember what he did with Hurricane Harvey a few years ago, and raising all of that money to give back to the people in the community that has cheered for him his whole entire career and stuff like that. And I understand that he has had to deal with a lot of craziness with O'Brien and all of this kind of stuff while he's been in Houston. And I get the moments where, like, hello, I'm a Cowboys fan. I get the moments where you have those 12-4 seasons and you're like, we're going to be great. We're going to do this. And then nothing happens because of it. Like, I can't even imagine being a player. I'm a fan and I freak out on those kind of moments. And I would be 100% backing JJ Watt if he decided he wants to leave and wants to go to another team. I don't think that this is a Kevin Durant moment. I don't think this is like, oh, I'm just going to go somewhere to win a championship. I think after you've given so much to a franchise and an organization, and your career is about to be over, and yes, you've won every accolade, every award you can imagine under the sun. We know he's a Hall of Famer, regardless of if he wins a Super Bowl or not. But to be in that moment and have your career literally, like, end of your career knocking at the door, and you like looking and like, dang, I've never won a championship. I've never had this moment. I've never gotten to experience this, like this, that, and the third. Like, I'm rooting for JJ Watt to go whatever team he needs to go to in order to win a championship, because we all know not going to be the Houston Texans. The Texans have done everything possible to not win a championship, just like the Falcons did everything possible to not win a championship. And then Tony Gonzalez has all these, after his career was over, I had all these moments of like, dang, I never got there, and it is very hard to win, as we do know, but there's literally people in their rookie year, even like Patrick Mahomes winning so early on in his career, it takes so much pressure off players to now they can just go out there and have some fun and enjoy playing. JJ Watt has been fighting and pulling and tugging and whatever his whole career, and he's nowhere close. We all know the Texans' record. We know they're terrible, like their coach was one of very few coaches who gets fired in the middle of a season or towards the beginning of a season. That hardly ever happens. Like the first 6 games of a season, coaches don't get fired that fast. That's not how it works. At least usually they wait till December. If not, they wait till Black Monday after the season's over. But that's how bad it was in Houston. And I'm with JJ. Go wherever you need to go, boo-boo. Like, Texans, this seems like he wants to go. Please relieve him of his duties and let him go where he needs to go, because we need this man to win a championship. Jackie, I'm going to bring you up here because we got some time. We both love JJ Watt over here. We do. Yes. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that he should just kind of finish out his career with the Texans, or are you down with him going with a different team in order to win a championship? Because we do diss Kevin Durant, but I do feel like it's a different situation personally. What do you think?
I definitely feel like it's a different situation. Number one, it's football. So the amount of negative impact to your body is worse than what it is in the NBA. You're probably not going to be at his position playing until you're 40 something years old. That's just not a thing. So you have to kind of maximize your time as much as you can. And he has literally given all of himself, of his body, of who he is to that franchise. And I think people forget that that's the ultimate dream. I think when you're in high school and college, it's the ultimate dream to make it to the league. And then when you get to the league, your ultimate dream is to win that championship. It is so hard to do. There are literally teams that have not succeeded in it. And you're absolutely right. I'm with you. I remember that last playoff game. And we for Tony, and we actually had I was a brand ambassador at that time. Right before that season started, he had this huge party in this far away house he has here in California. And I met him and his wife, and he was just so, like, his spirits were just so up. He kind of thought that this was going to be that season. And even though it was against my best interest to root for him, of course, I was rooting for him, wanted him to get it. And then to see him fail like that, you literally gave all of yourself, your time, your whole career, and you didn't get the one thing that you wanted. So JJ Watt is a very likable guy. This is not the same as a Kevin Durant situation to me, because I don't think JJ, it's not the same. He has literally tried. He's been vocal. He's done everything he could do. So no matter where he goes, I think that he should pick carefully. I don't want him to just go to like some random team that's making the same boneheaded mistakes that they are where he is now. So he should pick carefully. But if he picks carefully and he finds a team that is in the making, I would be all for that. And I would cheer for him to get that chip. Hopefully I won't have to cheer against my best interest again, but I definitely would cheer for him to do that.
Now, how do you think, because we're not Texans fans, we don't got a dog in the race technically. Do you think Texans fans would feel the same way? Or are they going to burn JJ Watt jerseys if he leaves? Or will they understand, like we saw the other day with the Jets fans that were happy that he left? You know, are they going to have that kind of energy towards JJ? Or are they going to just all of a sudden now want to burn his jerseys for leaving? Like, do you think they understand his career path?
Texans are weird. So I don't know for sure, because Texans are like, you know, it should always be about Texas. But I do think that they can look at their franchise right now and say, okay, we are not making any good decisions. We're shipping off weapons that could have helped us to get to the next level. You know, our coach, everything that we could possibly do against our best interest, that's what we're doing. I think he's a very likable guy. I think people really love him. They know his heart. So I think that how they feel about him as a person will supersede how they feel about that franchise, and they'll want the best for him. So I don't think we're going to see, we might see, you know, some redneck, like, I'll tell you what, burning a jersey. But I think we won't see a bunch of that. I think a lot of people are going to probably wear his jersey in honor of him winning a championship somewhere else. I think they have a very strong love for that man. I think we all do. We were talking about that before the show. He's a lovable guy.
Yeah, people in the comments are definitely showing love too. I think people like JJ for sure. But you know, I'm wishing him the best. I get you're 31, my guy, and go where you need to go in order to get this ship, because you deserve it. He has been, like I said, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in his career. Like, he has done amazing things. So that is it for Britt's today. Best of luck to you, JJ. I feel you, my guy. Like, I hope, you know, Houston cuts the umbilical cord and lets you go away and do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Britt. And you guys, we're going to be back again as usual at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. So make sure you tune in, subscribe, and tap the bell so you get a notification when we are going live. Wear a mask, wash your hands, be nice to the people around you, and we will see you guys later. Bye, everyone.
And happy birthday, Odell Beckham Jr. It's Odell's birthday today.
Odell! Happy birthday, my guy! Fellow Scorpio in the building. Look at that. Pop in and
Happy
also
birthday,
lock in for the
Dobby.
Scorpios.